that's where I'm getting lost also, is I gotta save some of the links to the same links every month or week or whatever.
No, the link for the Zooms are different every time, Chris.
So
I think so. Whoever's in charge creates it. So yeah. But it should be recording, and hopefully I don't have internet issues because I got kicked out of the last one 3 times. So that's why Tyler was trying to be on as a backup. Okay, perfect. So
yes, it's recording too.
We got it. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump in. This is call 2. There was a lot of familiar faces and a couple brand new faces. This is the first time I've been around this go round, but we, you know, the 4 of us have taken turns running this for the last couple months. So if you haven't met me before, my name's Chantel Gossett. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. Our team, Warrior team, just promoted to executive as of September 1st. And yeah, and I've been doing Paper Check for about 15 and a half years. So I was just thinking today, this is actually my first like fall season being a virtual consultant. Okay, and let me just, I'm gonna go ahead and mute people. You are welcome to come off mute to ask questions. There's also the chat that was here if anyone's having any trouble. And it's not that one either. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Zoom or the chat is on your phone, you have to like hit the button to find the chat, and then if you're on your computer, you should be able to just have the chat open during the whole call. So we will, we like participation. This whole series is for you guys to help you reach your goals. So if you are still in your 90 days, go ahead and just put in the chat when your 90 days are up and what your goal date to promote is. And if you are past your 90 days or you've already promoted to director, go ahead and just put in the chat what your next goal is. Because we've got all different titles and all different people who have been here with Paper Shop a short time and a long time. And then we'll jump in and get started. So Sherry is September 27th is your 90 days. So is your goal this month, Sherry, to promote to director? Totally fast track. Katie got on, perfect. Jody is director by October 1st. I love it. Karen's going for advanced. Love that. September 30th is your 90 days. You can do it, Lauren. Awesome. One of the most fun things here doing this with all of you guys is we've gotten to know like each other's team members as well. And so it's been kind of fun to see like as the month progresses, there's just different people that just start to take off, and it's like we'll talk to them one week and then another week it's like, oh my gosh, now I've signed however many people, and like we've had people promote in all different teams in like 4 days, 3 days. We talk to them on Monday, they promote by the end of the month later that week. So, you know, it's really fun to get to know you and see you accomplish these goals. So I'm seeing a lot of people who have their goal to promote this month, which is awesome. And sometimes in the middle of the month, you start to think like, oh my gosh, can I do it? And the truth is you totally can do it. So let's jump in. Anyone have a success story that they want to share? And you can put it in the chat. If you can unmute and share it, that would be great. I know that Kim shared one earlier on our team page, how it's so important to always have 4 parties going at a time. And then I don't have the numbers put up in front of me, but she kind of typed them out. Like one party was like $67 in sales. One was like just over 200, it barely qualified. And then she ended up with like a $1,600 party and 5 bookings, and then the other one was like well over 1,000. It might have been 1,800 with another 5 bookings. So, so Kim, hopefully I'm close on the numbers there. If you want to,
you are right on. I did my one party that just broke the $200. I did get a booking off of that. So with the 4 parties, I ended up with 11 bookings. So that's Danielle, the 3. Yes, Amanda Joe. I ended up with 11 bookings. They're not all like right now, but they're going to be closer to November in the end of the year. So I'm starting to book my, you know, out there that far.
And can you just give maybe one booking tip? Because I know there's some people on our team who are really starting to see like their calendars fill back up, and then some are who are still having to work really hard to get those bookings right now. So
Absolutely. What I do is when I see that somebody has placed an order on somebody's party, I will, in the virtual party, I will thank them. As I'm thanking them, I am also asking them to be my friend. More times than not, they'll become my friend. So then I will personal message them and say, I want to thank you again for placing an order on Angela's party. Did you get everything on your wish list? And I say, I'm going to say probably not. So let's book a party off of Angela's party and you can earn free and discounted products. And I'll say, I have openings on September 21st and October 5th. Would one of those dates work for you? It doesn't work all the time with everybody. But I got lucky on two of my parties, my two big parties, and got 5 people to say yes. I had some outside orders that didn't give me, they didn't have a Facebook account. So I text them and I got a couple that way too. So personal messaging is not always the go-to. If you can't get an answer, text them. I mean, people are going to answer you. I've learned this with my kids. I have 6 children and they're all grown. And if I want them to answer me, I send them a text. I will not call them because they will not answer my phone call.
Yes.
So same way with your guests.
That is very true. Awesome. Okay. And thank you. So if your calendar's not where you want it, this is a great time to work on that. And we talk about it every call, but 30 contacts a day until your calendar is full. So let's just jump in, because every call we're going to talk about bookings, recruiting. This particular one is at the party. And we always want to start off with a mindset moment. So everyone in this group has said they want to promote to director and have set a target date. So I already had you guys share that. And I did see a couple of questions. I think Hope said like mine was September 3rd, but you have until the end of the month. That is true. And then somebody else said that your goal is October 1st and you're not in your 90 days. And that's totally fine as well. Because some people do this really quickly and some don't. There wasn't really a fast track back then, but it took me years to promote to director. Several of the leaders here on these calls were not fast trackers. So if you're a fast tracker, that's awesome. We're going to celebrate you. If you're not in that window, that's totally okay. And that doesn't mean that, it's any less of a celebration. It's just as big of a deal to promote to director. So hopefully that answers your guys' questions. Let's see here. Okay. The truth is that some of you will achieve your goal on the day you set, and then others will miss your first target date. So I want you to think about what might hold you back from achieving the goal that you put in front of yourself. There really is one thing that holds people back from having the success they're looking for: fear. What does fear stand for? False evidence appearing real. Most fear is self-created and can easily become self-limiting. We're often under the impression that things outside of us cause our fear, when in reality, most of it begins with our thoughts and beliefs. You can change the narrative of fear when you realize the sources in your own mind. Taking action is another cure for fear. So let's do an activity to help you overcome that. So before we jump in with that, I have found that to be really true. One of the books that I recommended to my directors before conference was Everything is Figure Outable, and it talks a lot about that, how if you just decide that you can figure out whatever goal you put in front of yourself in any part of your life, and you keep telling yourself, I can figure this out, you will be able to figure it out. So that mindset is huge. So write down one thing that you fear as it relates to promoting to director. And I'm going to ask you guys to share it in the chat if at all possible. If it's something you really don't want to share publicly, that's fine. But like, this is a small group. You guys all have gotten to know each other over the last couple months. So share it, because we can help each other, and you'd be surprised at the people who you think are fearless, that they have the same fears as you. So write down something that is holding you back, or a fear that you have, An example would be not being able to have 5 team members, or not being able to have the sales this month, or it's hard to get bookings right now, anything like that. So Karen said the fear of not getting the bookings. Okay. Katie said, okay, she's working on texting her customers. Awesome. Okay, Jody said it's the amount of work associated with training new consultants. Okay, that is an awesome one to share as well. Not promoting. Let's see, getting commitment from the team to meet the team goals. There we go. Fear of not getting the numbers to promote. So Hope, is that the sales or the team members or both? Katie said fear of not getting the sales. Okay, so these are awesome. And you want to change the narrative to when I ask, for the example, if you were worried about having enough people, instead of saying, I'm afraid I can't get 5 people, saying, when I ask enough people, I will have a team of 5 or more. So you want to change that narrative. So let's use a couple of these as an example. So fear of not getting the bookings. One thing we really encourage you to do through this whole program is to track how many contacts you're making, who responds, how many bookings do you get. Everybody here at this point should be able to say, this is how many contacts I typically have to average to get this number of bookings. So if you need 5 bookings and you know that that's 10 contacts for you, or 20 or 30, then just multiply that by that number and you'll know how many contacts you need to make. And then tell yourself, instead of I'm afraid that I won't get the bookings, tell yourself, I'm going to work on making 150 contacts over the next whatever number of days works for you. The amount of work associated with training new consultants. Change that one to I get to help somebody else achieve their dreams or their goals. But I also know, just from all the stuff that we do together with the 4 of us leaders here, that you don't have to do a ton of work to train your new consultants. Like, we've got new consultant training calls, we've got onboarding calls, we've got welcome calls. All you really have to do is say, I'm here to support you. You know, I'm here to cheer you on. Jump into Dash, join these calls on Mondays at 2, and I'll send you reminders. Really, if you even did that, you could have a fast tracker under you. So don't look at it like it's a lot of work, because even in the last year and a half, what Pampered Chef's done and what this team's done to support you has taken so much of the work off of your guys' shoulders. Not promoting. So Sherry, that's one I can relate to really well, because like, it was a really big deal to promote to executive, and all month it was like, are we gonna do this? Can we do this? And I had to just wake up every day and tell myself, like, we will do this. Because especially after doing it 1 month, you're really faced with that second month, like, what if we don't and we have to start over with month 1? So if you tell yourself that you're afraid, or we can't do this, or this is hard, or I don't know, then that's what's going to happen. And if you tell yourself we can do this, you know, and push, because I think when you're afraid of something, it's easy to give up in that last, like, think of it as a race, like in that last like mile, right? Because that's like the longest part of it. And I'm not a runner, but I've cheered my daughter on, or any type of sport, like at the very end where you think that, like, we can't keep doing this, we won't win, whatever. It's that end is the very longest part of it. And if you don't push all the way through to the end, you won't make it. Or if you do, a lot of times you do, or you get the goal, or you get the win, or whatever it is that you're going for, you cross the finish line in a race. Getting commitment from the team to meet the team goals. One of the things I've definitely learned along the way is like creating that excitement and then asking them to join you. You ask them, and some will and some won't, but if you get enough that do, sometimes the less excited people just kind of like jump on the bandwagon, because not a single promotion happens single-handedly. It's all done with a team. So every promotion you see, like senior consultant, team leader, director, advanced director, all the way through executive, all the way through national executive, is creating that culture and having people on board. So they're not necessarily all on board, but a lot of them are. Okay. So hopefully fear of rejection, looking stupid, not being liked, and failure. But yes, just work on consistency. And And I think we've covered a lot of them. So hopefully you can start to see how you would change your mindset so that you are looking at your goal in a positive instead of using that fear to hold you back. Okay. Anyone else have a positive affirmation or statement or phrase that you repeat to yourself to help with that positive outcome that you're going for? So I'm going to have you guys share in the chat, and then I'll share what some of the things I've done. One is when I commit to something, like I tell myself, like, no matter what, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm pretty good at holding myself accountable. And some people struggle with that, some don't. So if you struggle with that commitment to yourself, get somebody on board to be on your team for that. And it might be somebody in this group, it might be your upline, it might just be a friend or a family member. It might be one of your kids. Depending on how old your kids are, they could be adults, they could be younger. Tyler, so if you're on my team, you know I talk about my kids a lot. They're very involved in my business. He's usually the one that when he was littler cheers me on. Now his method of cheering me on at 13, almost 14 is, what, so you're gonna quit and you're not gonna hit that, Mom? Really? Like, he's kind of taken on a very sarcastic method, but he really does push me and say, like, you can, you know, are you gonna hit this? Are you gonna take us to the Cheesecake Factory? Because that was his request, was that we go to the Cheesecake Factory for the promotion. So he was pushing me because he wanted that. So get somebody like that on board with you, because if you're less likely to hold yourself accountable, you really don't want to look at your kids or whoever that other person is and say, no, I didn't push all the way to the end. Does anyone else have something that they do to help hold themselves accountable or change the narrative from one of fear to a positive one? I'm gonna have to get somebody to get this dog.
I can go if I'm not glitching. Can you hear me? Sometimes my iPad lags. Okay. So I've been focusing on the action more than forgetting about the reaction. I have this little like note card that sits right by my lamp that says focus on the action, because I used to get so caught up emotionally and, oh, what if I make this person mad? What if they say no? What if they whatever? And I wouldn't get the work done. So I just focus on the outbound, getting the contacts out and not worry about the reaction.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, I love that you're saying I will be a director, because it's coming in just a few weeks. When I become a director instead of if, that's huge. And being willing to say that out loud, because I know in the past sometimes I've thought like, I want this, but I'm not 100% sure if I'll make it. So getting to the point where you're willing to say it out loud on a call like this, or in front of friends and family, like people that might check up on you later, like, hey, did you hit that goal? Like, that's huge too. Okay. So one of the examples is to say, I am a director of a strong and growing team that I'm proud to lead, and add in your date. So that's exactly, I think iPhone might be Debbie, I'm not sure what Debbie was saying. Like, instead of saying, I will be a director, saying, I am a director. I will be a director in the next couple weeks. You know, I will be a director. I am a director on October 1st. Depending on, you know, what motivates you and what excites you. We just did a call about like those heartstrings and those heart tugs about this promotion. Make it like very detailed. So I know my director talked about, she bought a dress, because before everything went to Zoom, you could walk stage when you promoted, which fingers crossed we can all do that next year. And so she had that hanging up as she worked on that promotion. If it's about a trip, you know, put pictures of that trip where you're going to see them, you know, on your bathroom mirror, on your screensaver, that kind of thing. So put those things so that you tell yourself every time you see that visual, you know, I am a director, I am promoting on October 1st, and change that narrative in your head. Just remember that your brain isn't as smart as you think it is. So it does what you tell it to. So if you tell yourself like, I will do this, and really push those fear away, then you'll start to see the results follow what you're telling your brain. So the positive affirmations really do work. I really do agree with that. Our team song, you know, if you haven't come up with a team song, then do that, especially if you're a music person. I know I've listened to that almost every day for like 2 months straight. So there's lots of different things you can do to encourage those affirmations. Am I frozen, you guys? I don't see anybody moving. Tyler, I think I'm frozen.